We found that there was a lack in the wrestling business of not just of competition, but of the kind of wrestling and the kind of emphasis on the wrestling shows, on the wrestling product. I felt like a lot of wrestling shows emphasized things other than the wrestling itself, and also a lot of the best wrestlers in the world were coming up for contracts. Yeah.
How's that feel?
It feels great, but it also feels great that the quality of the shows has been I expected great shows. I thought we were going to do some of the best shows anybody's ever done in wrestling, and I feel like we have, and some of the stuff we've done has exceeded my expectations. We've had some matches that have been rated by critics and fans alike as some of the best of the year. We've put out stories that people are captivated by, and our wrestlers are as popular as any wrestlers in the world, and for good reason, because our wrestlers are as good as any wrestlers in the world, and we put the focus on the wrestling. And that's why there's been such a great response to what we're doing.
Tell me your background a little bit when it comes to wrestling. How do you get into it? You know, from all the things you're involved in, how do you get into pro wrestling?
I've been a fan of wrestling my whole life since I was a kid. I grew up in Champaign, Illinois, going to University of Illinois football and basketball games, and being a fan of wrestling. And just like all the other sports I loved wrestling. When Game 7 of the World Series, the Braves, Minnesota Twins, who are now two teams I'm very proud to say my company, True Media, provides analytics and engineering support to, and are great clients for us. I'm a huge baseball fan, but I actually watched a WCW wrestling pay-per-view, Halloween Havoc '91, that night, and caught the Game 7 later.
Yeah.
It was. I love wrestling, and I always have, and it's been one of my passions. And I really found that there was a lack in the wrestling business of not just of competition, but of the kind of wrestling and the kind of emphasis on the wrestling shows, on the wrestling product. I felt like a lot of wrestling shows emphasized things other than the wrestling itself, and also a lot of the best wrestlers in the world were coming up for contracts. So just like you put together a free agent crop here for the Jaguars, literally here, or for Fulham in English football, thinking, well, there's a crop of free agents that you could put a roster of wrestlers together that would be as good as any roster of wrestlers anywhere in the world. And really, not only did we get almost everybody I was hoping to get, but we've got people in my wildest dreams I wouldn't have believed would become available and want to come work for us.
Like who? Who's somebody in your opinion?
John Moxley. When we started this, I did not know John Moxley would be available. I did not know John Moxley would want to come work for us, and I had already committed the money and signed people up, and that opportunity came up very late. And he's one of the biggest wrestling stars in the world, has been the most popular wrestler in the world, and it's a huge opportunity for us that he came available and that we launched this thing, and he wanted to be a part of it. But the free agent crop that we got started with in January with Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks right out of the gate, and then we came here and did a press conference and then surprised the world when Chris Jericho showed up here on January 8th, right here at TIAA Bank Field, home of the Jaguars. And we had a very cool event, and then we all went out to Las Vegas, and we did our next event, which was sort of a press conference, and it was sort of like a ticket on sale party. Sure. We didn't actually put the tickets on sale, but we announced when the tickets to Double or Nothing would go on sale. They went on to sell out in under a half hour, and it was the fastest sellout in the history of wrestling in Las Vegas.
Saying something. Las Vegas has had a lot of events, they're known for it, and wrestling. And the fastest ever. People are thirsty.
Yeah, there's a huge demand for what we're doing. And so when Chris showed up, that kicked things up a notch. We did the event in Vegas, and again, Chris was there, Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks were there, and then Kenny Omega debuted. Kenny Omega is one of the biggest wrestling stars in the world. He and Chris had actually had a match in Japan that attracted huge publicity and did huge box office business, and also was just a great match for the fans and the critics alike. Everyone loved it. It got the 5-star rating, and it was a classic. And then they went and had another classic for us at Double or Nothing, and there was huge interest in that. And the winner of that match was going to get a shot at the championship of AEW. Bernie Cahill and I, we're actually together in Los Angeles, and Bernie wasn't really into wrestling, didn't know much about wrestling, but is a really, really important and really well-respected and well-liked person in Hollywood. And through Bernie, I had gotten to become really good friends with the president of TNT and TBS, Kevin Riley, who is a really awesome person, and again is a really well-liked and well-respected person in Hollywood, but wasn't like a big wrestling fan.
Right.
And the three of us were together on a Friday night in Beverly Hills in the off season last year, and that's a little over a year ago. And I said to them that I had this idea and I wanted to do this, and Kevin said it'd be really interesting. Maybe you got something there, and Bernie knew I had something there, and we really developed the idea. And then we went out and took a lot of chances and took a lot of risks and have done this. And so far, everything's paid off, and it's been really great. And I think it's going to be to touch on what I was going to before. There were really 3 shows I wanted to do off the bat before we go into the TV show. I wanted to have a weekly TV show, but I knew right out of the gate, we wanted to do Double or Nothing in Las Vegas Memorial Day weekend, and we wanted to do All Out in the Chicago area at the same arena where the guys had a good experience before. We wanted to go to Labor Day weekend and do All Out. But in between Memorial Day and Labor Day, I knew that I really wanted us to do Fight for the Fallen, which is what we're doing here this weekend in Jacksonville. Fight for the Fallen is going to be it's going to be a really cool wrestling show because we have a main event that is a dream match that I don't think anybody ever thought they were going to see, which is 2 of the greatest tag teams, I think, of all time, and definitely 2 of the greatest teams of the last decade. And they're 2 teams that had taken a very different path to get here, and they're actually both brothers. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, and then Cody and Dustin Rhodes.
Right.
Cody works very closely with Matt and Nick and me. We're all in daily contact. Probably while I've been sitting here with you up in my dad's suite here in the stadium, I'm guessing we've had like 20 text messages fly back and forth. That's how much we talk. And we work really closely together. The 3 of those guys, and Kenny Omega and me, the 5 of us really are on a constant contact. And then with the other people in our company, we're also in constant contact with them, so we talk that much more. With Cody's wife Brandy is our chief brand officer, Brandy Rhodes, and also a great wrestler for us. And then Christopher Daniels is a famous wrestler and is also our head of talent relations. And a lot of people who work in the company in a wrestling capacity or have been wrestlers or do something on the wrestling side also do something on the business side for us. So it allows us to utilize their skills full time. We have a lighter schedule for the wrestlers than our competition has had traditionally and continues to operate with. So it's more time at home and less time on the road. And also it allows for people to develop other skills. Like we have Dr. Britt Baker, who here in Florida is a practicing dentist and is a DMD and wouldn't be able to handle the load of patients and do her dreams. And if you ask her what her dream is, it's like what she's doing, which is both. Like her dream is to be a dentist and a wrestler, and she's doing it. And she's a star wrestler. It's not like, she's doing it like as a hobby on the side. Like Dr. Britt Baker is like a really important person in the wrestling business. And
That's hilarious. That's awesome.
It's cool, right? Yeah. And she wouldn't be able to do that to be a national star and to be a well-paid, hugely respected. I mean, she would be a big, important person in the wrestling business. What she's been doing, she's been important. Yeah. But this is going to take her to another level. And she was with us at the TNT Media Upfronts and had a great experience there with all of us. And I was able to go to the president of TNT and TBS with her, and literally, she said to him firsthand. It's funny because I couldn't have dreamed it up any better than to bring somebody so impressive to the event. And she's saying to Kevin, what I'm saying to you, that this company is allowing her to pursue that dream, and it's pretty special. And it's, I know we're all here for the wrestling, but we're doing some other like really awesome stuff with it too. So and that's a great example of that is like Fight for the Fallen. We're donating a very large amount of money, and this show is not designed to make a profit. It was never designed to make a profit. It's not going to make any money. It's going, and we're in fact going to donate money made to the Victims Advisory Assistance Council, which the mayor has set up, and the VAAC. Will help benefit the victims of local crimes, and we were looking for a partnership with the city where we could take the money we make in from this event and donate a large portion of what we take in to benefit these people who have been victims of very unfortunate things. The one thing that made me want to do this is living here and being here in the stadium and being very close and with the players also. We spend so much time here as a team, and the staff and the coaches. And what happened at the landing is really what made me want to do this Fight for the Fallen event. And from the get-go, and I told the wrestlers it was something that when we were going to launch this company, it was going to be one of the flagship events of the company. And I don't want to just do it once. I think it's something we can come back and do again. And it doesn't have to be a one-time thing. And we can keep helping people here in Jacksonville, and we can do shows the rest of the year. But at least once a year, hopefully it's something we can do for the community, I hope. And the support for it's been great. People are really excited about the matches. In addition to the Cody and Dustin Rhodes against the Young Bucks match, which I think, is a real dream match. There's some other really exciting stuff on the card. We talked about Hangman Adam Page a lot, and I'm glad you enjoyed interviewing him. He's an awesome guy, and he's got this amazing opportunity to wrestle Chris Jericho for the World Championship, to be the first World Champion of AEW in Chicago at All Out Labor Day weekend, August 31st on pay-per-view. And before that event, they are both going to be here at Daly's Place. Chris is going to be conducting an interview segment. He's going to be talking. We're giving Chris a live microphone. He's made it really clear that he thinks he deserves all the credit for everything we've done here, and he wants to be thanked for it by all of us. And so Chris is going to come out, and I think he's going to demand to be thanked.
Okay.
And so, we'll see how that goes. And but Adam is going to be wrestling against Kip Sabian, who won a big match and is a really upcoming, exciting young contender in the heavyweight division. He's like really, really a great guy. I really like Kip a lot, but he's also just like an awesome, likable performer. He's this really like charming, handsome guy in real life, but he's such a dynamic young wrestler, and I'm surprised when a lot of the young English wrestlers were getting signed that Kip didn't get that big offer, because he's got everything it takes. And it's a great opportunity for Kip to pull off an upset, because Hangman is going to, obviously, he's got such a big match coming up August 31st. Right. Kip won this match on our first pay-per-view against Sammy Guevara, who's also wrestling on this show, in a six-man tag to kind of put him in this spot. And then Hangman at our last event in Daytona, which was very successful, actually, a couple weeks ago. Hangman won a four-way match there that put him here, and now that's a match we're really excited about. Kenny Omega is in action against Shima, who's a top wrestler from Japan. That's another dream match people, I don't think, expected they'd be seeing in 2019 on a big national stage, nationally available for free on the BR app to everybody, and making it available, and that's another dream match. So. And then we've got a couple really exciting women's matches I'm excited about, and some tag team matches that are going to be great. It's going to be a really cool card, and it's going to be family-friendly show too. And that's another thing I'm excited about. Not every show we do will be this family friendly. There'll be sometimes where we'll make it clear, like there'll be an unsanctioned hardcore match. We'll call it a lights out match, because at the end of the night we'll turn the lights out and tell everybody, like, hey, this is gonna be a hardcore match. But this is not what that is. This is not that show, Fight for the Fallen. And it's gonna be a really cool event. I'm excited to do it here.
What's life as Tony Khan like?
Oh, there's it's a constant juggle. I mean, I just ran up. We've got a board meeting, and then I've got a conference call, and I've been working on. I was just in London, and then flew back here, and I've been on the phone with people in London all morning, and then again it's night there, and I had to catch people in the afternoon before they went to bed. I'm talking to agents all the time. We're getting ready to ramp up here with the Jaguars. This is about as quiet a period as you get with the Jaguars before camp. Still have a lot to catch up on. I've known John DiFilippo for years. We've been good friends, but we've never worked together before, so that's going to be new. Washer and I have been together for years with Doug. That's nothing new. What's cool for me is like how big a fan Doug is of wrestling and of this. If you watch the pay-per-view, you'll enjoy this. If you watch when Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega spilled into the crowd, and they're brawling in when Jon Moxley debuts. When Jon Moxley and Kenny are fighting, watching, you'll see Doug standing there holding a beer, and they go right by him. Doug's wearing a red shirt. You can't miss him. And Doug and Dave were there. Doug and Dave came to the match. They were sitting with my dad and Mega and everybody there. It was great. And Doug's a huge wrestling fan. He's hung out and goes to the shows. Doug will be there. Cool. And so the Jaguars have been really, really supportive. of the whole thing. And yeah, so life's crazy, but I love all the stuff I'm doing. It's like, it's fun.
Appreciate / return.
I don't. That's like I hate giving cop out answers to questions, but there's like I don't think there's a right answer to that question because I think or a wrong answer to that question because like I would say that like for that when done right they can both be done perfectly. So like you can't beat it. I think like a great there's been great moments in the business, great heel turns that are some of the most immortal moments that have ever been done. There's also great babyface turns that are some of the most immortal moments that have ever been done. And then there's great debuts that just shock the world. And I think what's cool is like we came right out of the gate and did a great one with Jon Moxley that's going to be a pretty famous and important one. So it's going to be different. No, I haven't. It's actually kind of a custom thing. You might hear the guys talk about it a little bit more, but I sent the sketch early on. Have you ever seen the wrestling episode of South Park?
Oh, no,
I can show you guys the thing when I'll show it to you. Like if you see the wrestling episode of South Park, like they put the ring kind of in. They had like bleachers in their backyard, and then they had the house. And to me, when I saw it, I had a flash, and I was like, okay, we'll put the ring in the pit, not on the stage. And then, so it's gonna look different. I mean, there's been wrestling in amphitheaters before, but this will be a different look, and I think, yeah, it could create something really cool visually. It's definitely gonna be very different than the shows we've done in arenas, like Double or Nothing at the MGM Grand and Fighter at the Ocean Center, which will look very different from each other. So you can do lots of different things in an arena, but this will be very unique. Yeah.
I can't wait to see what it looks like.
No. I mean, I really enjoy it when it goes well. And I have fun back there, but no, I mean, I haven't. I guess it's funny because like they put like a clip in BTE and like where like Cody was about to go out for the Derby match in Daytona, and like I got up and I was just loose in the gorilla position, and I'm on kind of the last line there. I'm sitting there when you go out, and I'm on the headset with Keith and timing the show and the matches. That was obviously a really important one to time because it did went to time, and. But I was just getting loose too, and I knew what we were getting into, and I'm loose back there, but I don't think that's what it is because everything's mostly gone like you want it to go. So yeah, Steve's great. I got his agent is a friend of mine is my friend Ryan Hayden, and Ryan had said a long time ago like if you're gonna get AEW off the ground, if you're gonna do a wrestling company, you should do a podcast with Steve sometime. And I know Steve still to this day still loves wrestling, follows wrestling, and I would have killed to do that. I was like, that's so exciting. I would love to do that, of course. And as soon as they actually came through and he made the offer, I jumped to do it. And I went over to Steve's house and spent 4.5 hours with him and his wife, Kristen. They were so nice to me, so hospitable, and we recorded for a couple hours, and almost all of it made the podcast, over 75% of it. I think over an hour and a half out of a 2-hour taped conversation, and we spent a few hours together. Besides that, and have hung out since then, and I just think he's like an awesome person. But what meant the world to me is, like Steve's accomplished as much or more than anybody in the history of the wrestling business, has been the hottest wrestler in the world that moved the needle more than anybody and drove more business for wrestling worldwide than anybody at any point in time in the history of the world. And to have Steve, of all people, come in and say, like, I loved your show, I love this pay-per-view right out of the gate, and then have such positive feedback, I mean, it made me feel incredible, and honestly, I've tweeted it, I've said it. I think that's the highest praise you can get in the wrestling business. I said it to Steve on the show, and then I put it on social media afterwards. There's nothing that compares to that, and it really it says a lot about what we've done as a company at AEW. What we've put together as a management team, but also the wrestlers themselves, and beyond everyone on the wrestling side, all the people on the business team, and all the people in the marketing, and everything we've done. It's just awesome, and to put together a show that got that kind of review from Steve, that's, like I said, it's the highest praise you can get. It's awesome.
That's sweet.
Yeah.